Going to go to Flo first, in fact, with the international papers, starting with that World Climate Summit in New York City, Flo.
That's right, and lots of papers are focusing on that incredible announcement yesterday that the Rockefeller family was pulling all investment in fossil fuel industries. Let's take a look at this headline in The Independent. They talk about how the Rockefellers go green. What's incredible about this is the Rockefeller family owes its wealth to oil. In fact, they were once called America's royal family of oil. So this is a very important and symbolic victory for environment campaigners as that summit kicks off in New York. Now, The Independent focuses on that summit in its editorial today and says the heat is on for those 120 world leaders as they meet. But this UN climate summit comes at a hopeful juncture. Why is that? Well, it's because the worst of the 2008 financial crisis has been weathered, and especially because China and America, the world's largest polluters, are finally making meaningful attempts to take the lead in the CO2 reduction and also invest in renewable energy.
Not all the papers are quite as hopeful, though.
That would be a little too easy, wouldn't it? Let's take a look at the Wall Street Journal, which is known for being more conservative and more skeptical about climate change. You can see here they talk about the People's Climate Demarche, and it points out that the anti-carbon campaign is stalling even at the United Nations, though one not-so-minor problem is that the world's largest emitters are declining to show up even for appearances. It points out that the leaders of China, India, and Russia aren't even going to grace the UN with their presence for this summit, and obviously they have other priorities, according to the Wall Street Journal. And the Wall Street Journal says, well, perhaps they're right to have other priorities, because after all, aren't there more important things like reducing global poverty or the threat of terrorism? That's, of course, what the Wall Street Journal thinks. But check this cartoon out. This is in China Daily. I thought it was interesting that they would have a cartoon that was addressing the need to, address the problem of carbon emissions. You can see here the world choking, coughing on a cloud of smog. Those little things on top are cars. And you can see it's wearing that T-shirt that says World Car Free Day, which was yesterday. I thought it was interesting, though, that the China Daily would have a cartoon on pollution.
Yeah, I'm glad you said choking. I thought they were laughing in their cartoon, trying to look at it very closely. Now, staying in that region, papers focusing as well on tensions over Hong Kong's political future. This, of course, as thousands of students hold a week-long pro-democracy protest there.
That's right. Lots of papers in the region are focusing on comments that the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, made yesterday. This is a cartoon in the South China Morning Post, so a Hong Kong paper. Yesterday, he hinted at the fact that Beijing was going to take a more active role in Hong Kong's affairs. Now, he was speaking in Beijing to a delegation of senior figures from Hong Kong's business and professional sectors, and what he said was that basically the one country, two systems system will stay, but he also highlighted the central government's leadership role and the need to tailor one man, one vote. So according to the South China Morning Post, this is a sign of less autonomy to come for Hong Kong. But check this out. This is the front page of China Daily. They have a very different take on things. They say that the president is actually reassuring Hong Kong of stability. And in its editorial, China Daily says, talks about Beijing's steadfast support. In the 17 years after its return to the embrace of the motherland, Hong Kong has always been able to count on the central government for unreserved support when things got tough, economically, but also in terms of advancing democracy. That's what's incredible about this editorial. It says that the central Chinese government has always been there to move democracy forward in Hong Kong.
French politics, it's actually making it into the international papers. This is Nicolas Sarkozy's official return.
That's right, and Sarkozy steps back in. That's what the Wall Street Journal today says in their editorial. Liken Sarkozy to Napoleon, actually. Look who's returning from Elba. But this article points out that all Sarkozy really has to offer is executive experience. Is that enough? Well, the Financial Times in their editorial has a very clear opinion. They say that the return of Sarkozy is no solution for France. And according to this article, the Financial Times says that, Sarkozy, he blew his chance when he was president, and France needs new leaders, another direction to go in.
Flo Vilmanette with the international papers. Thanks a lot. Better late than ever. Stephen Carroll's here with business. We're going to start, aren't we, with that airstrike at Air France, Stephen?
Yeah.